Hey there guys, what's going on? It's Gailraj here, back on the 5-9 channel to talk more about the new details we got on Final Fantasy VII and the entirety of Final Fantasy VII, might I add. It's not just remake we're going to be talking about. And today with me we have Kensei. Say hello.
What up, guys? I am excited for this thing because I played the remake on the PS4 and we got some good news, so I am ready to talk about this for sure.
Of course, I personally haven't got a PS4 or a PS5, so I'm kind of like, I'm in the unknown regarding remake. I've watched obviously some playthroughs here and there, but I'm more of an original fan. I've played through most of the ports, including the original as well. I've played through Crisis Core, Dirge, and a lot of stuff there as well. So hopefully we can bounce off each other well, because there's not just Final Fantasy VII Remake news, there's a lot more to talk about. But we'll start with Final Fantasy VII Remake anyways. Of course, we have to talk about that we're getting a free upgrade from the PS4 to the PS5. There's some differences between the PS4 and PS5 versions as expected. Kensei, why don't you go over some of them that you noticed during the state of play?
Yeah, during the trailer that they were showing off, I did see a bit of graphic changes. So, like, of course, they talked about the character itself. They're a little more detailed, especially with these characters. Little better lighting as well, smooth transitions, all that stuff. On the PS5 side, it looks like it's a bit of a darker color, and over here on the PS4 side, it seems like it's more lighter. But it looks like they changed the lighting. I know a specific one, they changed the fog effect, so more little fog on one of these stages. Better lighting on I think it's like when Cloud is under the sector 7, or correctly, I think one of the places. Better lighting. Yeah, and like little fog here is pretty nice. And if you're in the graveyard or the train one, it's like more fog. So, like, honestly, it's a big difference. So PS5 players, you're gonna see a better experience than on the PS4. So that's really good.
Yeah, so of course that is something that's coming. It's coming on June 10th, if I recall correctly. It was 6th, 10, 2021. So June 6th, that is, of course. June 10th, sorry, not 6th. But of course, not only that, FF7 Remake players will be able to purchase a special episode featuring Yuffie. And that is very interesting to me, considering obviously I know where FF7 ends, and to be honest, this is a bit of a surprise considering I wasn't expecting Yuffie until part 2, of course. So being able to purchase her and her special side episode is going to be very interesting for a lot of players. What do you think about that, Kensei? Do you think it's a good move, or should they have just waited until part 2? Or do you think, is it like a good sort of like DLC code? I mean, it is DLC because you're purchasing and it's a downloadable content, of course. What do you think?
Honestly, I honestly thought it was gonna be Zack. Gonna be the DLC reenacting the train, the bombing mission, because of course if you play the game at all, I'm not saying any spoilers, but that would have been the DLC reenacting the bombing mission with Zack. But with Yuffie, I think it's a good thing because the story, it's not the same as the original. It's a remake, so they have to how do I call it, make it a whole different. Because if you played the game at all, it's an journey, so anything can change. Anything could probably change, so then that makes sense that Yuffie could have been this episode. And I do think that's really good. So this is a good step for me. So
I do think, obviously, as you mentioned, this is something that we should kind of address as well. Obviously, spoilers here a bit. We know that FF7 Remake has diverged, quote-unquote, from the original storyline completely. Like, we know it's like sort of an alternate timeline, quote-unquote. So changes are to be expected, to be fair. So seeing Yuffie Kisaragi this early on is not really a surprise. At the same time, considering we were already expecting so many differences throughout. Another thing that was very interesting, and I don't know if you noticed this, Kensei, was seeing Weiss, I think his name is pronounced as.
Yes, he's
from Dirge of Cerberus. Yeah, he's like a secondary antagonist. seeing him this early on, bro, Nomura, my guy, you're doing something to me, man. You're doing something to me. Like, I really want to play the game now, but obviously not having a PS4, PS5 is a pain in the arse, quote unquote. And I really want to get it. I really hope we'll get it on the PC soon. But what are your thoughts on that? We're seeing Weiss now. It's so early on, considering, you know, Dirge is technically a sequel, quote, you know, kinda.
Yeah.
So seeing Weiss so early on, it's gonna be insane. Like, there's so many changes already happening.
Yeah,
even within
like,
this short DLC,
man,
you know, it's crazy.
With Dirge Cerberus being introduced now into the timeline, like I said, this is a remake, so they can mess up with the timeline on this stuff. Because now, with Weiss being on, bringing it early into the timeline or the story for this remake, I was like, what is going on now? Like, honestly, man, I don't know. Because now we can see Vincent now in part 2 now, really early too as well. So, I don't know if they're going to mention the character Genesis at all. Because remember, Genesis was mentioned in Cerberus.
Yep.
So, but the thing is that one of the voice actors named Gax has some issues with the, I don't know if we're issues or some stuff going on with the company with Square Enix. So, I don't know if they're going to mention too much of Dirge Cerberus, but right here, they're mentioning some stuff that where Yuffie, I think, went to underground, like to an underground tunnel or I think like a mission like that. So Weiss being introduced this early does make sense because, of course, you know, Gax is a voice actor of Genesis, and I don't know if they're gonna like introduce them like at the very end. Because remember correctly, if you play the game of Dirge Cerberus, at the very last scene, Genesis does appear like back, and then he has his one wing angel form, and I don't know. I think they're gonna change the story a little bit if they are gonna introduce into the Dirge Cerberus here. So honestly, I'm excited for that. So I'm very excited for that for sure.
Yeah, of course. And speaking of side stories, of course. Well, actually, before we go into the side stories part, how much do you think this should cost? In my opinion, it should be around $10 to $15, the DLC, quote unquote. But what do you think? Do you think it'll be a bit more? You know, Square Enix, it could be a bit more. What do you think?
I do think it's worth, I would say $15 to $10 as well. It should be worth that much.
Yeah.
Especially since we have the free upgrade to the PS4 to the PS5.
Yeah.
That's a really good thing for them to do. The DLC should be at least $10 to $15. If it's 20 or more, that's a little questionable. But
it's a bit steep, yeah.
Yeah, it's a bit steep for them to do that, but it does make sense for them to that it could be $10 to $15 because I don't know how long is this episode gonna be.
That's
true. By the looks of it, it could be because it is a side mission, so I mean, if you play the Final Fantasy 15 episodes, they're usually around like 4 to 6 hours, maybe less.
Yeah.
So like they have like Prompto episode or the Gladio episode. They got they're supposed to do a Noctis episode, but they didn't do that. So usually it takes like around like 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours max if you are into the story. So if it is like 4 hours max, I'll probably definitely say it's a $10 price for sure.
I mean, I'm looking at this right now. I decided to look at Final Fantasy 15's episode prices, episode Arden. It's £4 right now. Obviously, it probably was a bit more expensive when it officially launched, right?
Yeah,
so probably expect it to be around 10 to 15 pounds. Let us know down in the comment section below. What do you guys think it'll be? Do you guys think it'll be more than $15? Do you think it'll be $10? What do you think it should be? Yeah, let us know down in the comment section below. It'll be good to see what you guys think. But yeah, like I said, speaking of side stories, we gotta talk a bit about the mobile games coming out. This is something that wasn't even part of the State of Play. It just came out right after the State of Play. They just announced it on their Twitter randomly, saying they've got 2 new mobile games coming up. So starting off with the first one, the Final Fantasy VII First Soldier, or the First Soldier, and it's a battle royale on the mobile devices. I genuinely, okay, when I looked at it, I was like, wait, am I reading this right? Did they just say a battle royale? And on mobile, like, it's so questionable entirely. Like, in the trailer there were like chocobos, you could ride on chocobos, and obviously being a soldier, you had guns, of course. I don't think you can use I don't think you can use like Sephiroth or anything like that. So it seems to be more in the style of like PUBG mobile or like Fortnite mobile, basically. So it's very interesting. What are your thoughts, Ken? Say personally, I think it's a good. It's a nice side game, but it's just so weird to me.
Yeah, it's random that they're doing this. I mean, honestly, I should expect this to happen because battle royale games or modes are actually really popular these days now.
Yeah.
So I did not expect them to have a battle royale with these guys, the Final Fantasy VII characters, or the theme in general. So I wasn't shocked at first, but then again, it's like it kind of makes sense more that people do enjoy battle royale mode. So that's. I mean, it's a game that I won't be playing, but it's interesting for sure to say. But yeah.
I think it's also a good way to kind of attract newer fans to the series, maybe. Potentially, Indeed. That's the idea, I think, entirely. I mean, I might try it out like once and then probably drop it like the next day or something.
Yeah, basically.
But, I mean, just as a fan of Final Fantasy, I mean, I gotta try everything I can, you know? That's in my capability, of course. But, you know, as I said, it's cool. It's a nice addition. Probably not for everybody, but it at least attracts new fans, I suppose, which is better than nothing. The second game, however, is the more interesting thing to me personally.
Oh yeah,
and it's called Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis. It's a structured single-player experience consisting of the whole FF7 timeline. Literally, that's what, word for word, that's what it says. The whole FF7 timeline, including the events of the original game, as well as those in the compilation title. So we should probably see stuff like Advent Children, Crisis Core, Dirge. Like, there's so many possibilities you can see in these in this game. I genuinely am surprised that they're literally porting over their entire Final Fantasy VII series onto mobile. Like, they made the funniest thing to me is they made a remake, which is of course what we're getting on the console, to only demake it kind of on mobile. It's so weird to me. What do you think, Ken, say about this? This is so cool.
Honestly, it's just a good thing because I don't know, on a mobile, I think mobile in general is now picking up, so it does make sense that they are gonna make this in a mobile concept thing. Especially that it's kind of shocking that they are remaking this, like the style of the remake in a mobile. So I do expect this. I don't know is this gonna be free exactly, or it's gonna be paid?
I doubt it. I think it's gonna be like a once payment, like £8 or something, to just buy the game and then keep it on your mobile or your account, that is, so your Google Play or iOS account, and you can literally play it just like any other Final Fantasy port, pretty much. You know, they cost a certain amount. I know, like, some of the Final Fantasy titles cost like £4 to £5 on mobile or something. Gotcha. So I assume it'll be something similar in veins. It'll probably be a bit more expensive because it's a bit more updated. The graphics are a little bit better. You guys probably are seeing on your screen some screenshots. The game seems to be like a proper visual novel at its core, but there are obviously some fight moments, boss fights and stuff like that, as seen. It's going to be very interesting to see how much it actually covers, and of course how much it costs. Are we going to get everything on day one, or is it going to be over time they're going to update the game to add in more stuff as we go along? What are your thoughts apart from that? Like, do you think it'll feature everything from day one, or do you think they'll update like chapter by chapter, like every few months or something?
Because it seems like it's gonna, like, because it says here on the description, including the events of the original game in the Final Fantasy VII the compilation titles. So what I do think it could day one have all the titles, or they can do like monthly updates if they want to do that. Update like one story. Since you're playing the remake first, and then you can just do play like Before Crisis and then Crisis Core the next month. I mean, usually these take a very long time. I mean, this is coming out in next year, so this is like giving me the idea that this could be dropped, like the whole titles could be dropping at the same time. But honestly, it's more better for them to update the game monthly, so that way, so you don't have to pretty much just play it like all in one go and be like, there's nothing to play anymore. So this does make sense that that should be monthly. So honestly, I'm shocked that they are mentioning Dirge of Cerberus because of some situations with the character in it. So I want to see what are they going to do with that game specifically.
It's going to be very interesting. It's going to be very interesting because the promise of having all of it is like, that's a madness in my opinion. Like, I wasn't expecting it. I think this is more of an interesting thing than, to be honest, what's happening with Remake, because like, you're just getting everything in one go. This is the perfect like way for a player to just jump in and learn about Final Fantasy 7 and the whole saga, basically, right? Such a good way of doing it. But yeah, that's Ever Crisis, of course. That's personally my most interesting title, kind of helped by the fact that I don't have a PS4 and PS5, so the only thing I can expect to look forward to is this, quite frankly speaking. But yeah, the final thing that we did get, of course, is that from 26th of February, so this might be 26th February already, the Final Fantasy 7 Remake soundtrack will be available on all online music subscription services like Apple Music, Spotify, and whatnot. So that's really good if you're interested in listening to the soundtrack, which I must add is an absolute banger. You can do so on any subscription service like Spotify and stuff. But any final thoughts you want to mention, Kensei, before we wrap up?
Honestly, I would have preferred if we would have gotten a PC import as well.
I agree.
I thought this did a play, we would have gotten some news about it. But it does make sense that they are going to make a PS5 import because, of course, PS5 is a new console. So their attention's on that first. So what I do think is that the PC import might be coming probably next year if they are going to wait for that. But I do think another chance we can get a PC import should be around probably E3, maybe.
Could be around that, yeah.
But I'm just praying that we do get that PC import because I want to play that on a beautiful monitor and everything, smooth. I mean,
60 FPS and all that jazz.
On the PS5, it's gonna look good, but if with the better performance and better graphics, the PCs is gonna look way more better.
Of course, yeah. I have to agree with whatever you said there. I was personally hoping for PC port at some time this point because, of course, it's been a year since the release of the remake. But of course, I mean, it was a state of play for PlayStation, so I'm not surprised we didn't get an announcement there, particularly for PC. I also have to agree. I think E3 would be an amazing opportunity for them to reveal the PC port. Of course, while PlayStation gets Final Fantasy 16, PC could get the remake, right? It would work really well. You get sales from both sides. It would work extremely well, in my opinion. But yeah, that's all from us today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Leave your thoughts down in the comment section below. Leave a like and subscribe. Hopefully you guys enjoyed Kensei and I's discussion. And of course, our socials will be in the link descriptions down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you guys next time. Peace out, everybody. Bye.
Bye.